Up to the Alm Uncle. This is the story of a little orphan girl called Heidi, who was so happy that she made everyone around her happy too. The story begins on a sunny day in the mountains of Switzerland. Heidi was climbing up a steep path to her grandfather's cottage. Her Aunt Data was with her. Heidi had been looked after by Aunt Data since she was a baby. But now Aunt Data had a new job in a big city called Frankfurt. She wanted Heidi's grandfather to look after the child. Heidi didn't know it, but her grandfather was a fierce old man who only came down from the mountain when he had goat's cheese to sell in Dorfli, the village in the valley. Everyone called him the Alm Uncle because the mountain he lived on was called the Alm. Before Heidi and her aunt reached the cottage, they met a young goat herd called Peter, who was taking his goats to the high pasture. Heidi walked amongst the goats, chattering happily to Peter. She was entranced by her beautiful new surroundings. Happily she kicked off her boots and skipped barefoot on the soft grass. At last, they reached the Alm Uncle's cottage. The Alm Uncle was sitting outside on a bench, and Heidi ran straight up to him. "Good day, grandfather," she called. Well, what have we here?" inquired the old man, glaring at Heidi from beneath his bushy eyebrows. Data explained why she had brought Heidi. Then, as she was rather frightened of the old man, she turned and ran down the mountain. At first, the Alm Uncle was angry. He hadn't seen Heidi for years, and what did he know about looking after little girls? But Heidi was such a bright, cheerful child that his heart softened. Heidi couldn't wait to explore her new home. The cottage was small but cosy. There was one big room with a fireplace where all the cooking was done. The only furniture was a table and chair, and grandfather's bed. In a corner stood a ladder. Heidi climbed up and found herself in a tiny loft filled with fresh, sweet-smelling hay. From a little window she could see far down into the valley. "Oh, grandfather," cried Heidi, "please let me sleep up here. It's lovely." So grandfather brought sheets and blankets and made a snug little bed in the hay. Then it was time to eat. Supper was a large chunk of cheese, a thick slice of bread, and a bowl of fresh goat's milk. Everything tasted delicious. That night, Heidi lay in her soft bed, listening happily to the wind and the pine trees. Soon she was fast asleep, dreaming of goats and mountains